Oh. All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the Ann Arbor Real Estate Investors Club. This is my Saturday morning laser class series where I cycle through a number of real estate investing fundamental skills and kind of major topics that I think every investor needs to know, get a working knowledge of. Um, Today is skill number two. I'm cycling through them kind of one at a time because it can be overwhelming. I used to do these we used to do them in, half day workshops, full day workshops. And I learned that it was overwhelming, and it is overwhelming. And as I said, I think it's better to teach one subject, kind of get a good portion of it, and a digestible portion. I do give you some resources to go for a deeper dive into the subject, and then we go from there. So this is a picture of our group, and we used to go a couple times a year. We used to go on a road trip, looking at foreclosure deals, looking at deals that some members of the group might be in the middle of doing a renovation. We would go on a road trip, take a look at what they're doing, do a lot of networking, and go back to Corner Brewery and have a beer and lunch. And those were good times. I think we'll get back to that one of these days, maybe even this summer. We'll see. But that's it. This is my disclaimer. Shannon, you're new, and maybe a couple others new that have jumped on the call. I don't put this slide up to scare you, but I know there are a lot of courses, classes, videos, etc., that kind of have a tendency to pump people up about how lucrative real estate investing can be. And yes, it can be. But those of us who have been in the business more than a minute know that this business will knock you down. And it's not a matter of if it will knock you down, it's a matter of when. So I use this slide to try and get you started before you get knocked down, to build some resilience and learn to build resilience. I've been in the business 19 years, and every week I get knocked down by one thing or another, because the more you do, the more opportunity you have to get knocked down. But if you have a goal that is kind of burning a fire in your belly, and you have a long-term plan to achieve that goal, those two tools will help you build resilience for when you get knocked down, and they will help you stand back up. In addition to the members of this group and me, I'm welcome to be your consultant, coach, friend, realtor, whatever. So that's just my little disclaimer for this morning. The Ann Arbor Real Estate Investors Club, I say we offer a trifecta for real estate investing: learning, networking, and deal making. These are the basic elements of real estate investing, stuff that you are going to be doing on a daily basis, or however often you need to do it to reach the goals you want to meet. So this is who we are and what we do. Fundamentals, again, at the top, I tell you, on these Saturday morning classes, I teach the fundamentals. And I like this quote, where it says, get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise. So as you learn the fundamentals, practice the fundamental skills, it helps build your confidence in yourself. And as you build confidence, then you're able to step out of your comfort zone a little bit more easily, which is what we know we need to do. These are the fundamentals that I teach, and those of you who have seen invitations to these events know that these are the topics and the skills that we do. So the top 5 are skills that I think you need to develop, and the top 5 skills are things that you will really be doing on a daily basis. The other 7 are, topics you need to learn. You won't be doing these things every day, but you'll be doing them on a regular basis. Today, finding deals is about marketing and marketing yourself and marketing your properties and doing the like of that. So let folks in here, and we will do that, and we will keep going. So, all right. So 10,000 foot overview today. As a real estate investor, I want you to kind of get to thinking in little different segments. So finding deals is about marketing, and you're marketing yourself, and you're going to be marketing your properties. So those are kind of 2 distinctions that I want you to get clear on and get a grasp on, because obviously there's very different ways to pursue each of those roads. Okay, so you're going to be marketing yourself to sellers, okay, if you're buying properties. And this is going to be, we're going to talk a little bit mostly about off market stuff today, not on the MLS stuff today, because stuff that's on the multiple list service is, you're working with an agent. Ideally, you're working with a sharp buyer's agent who is going to be your agent, who is going to be marketing you to the sellers. All right, that's a different, it's a little bit different avenue of the marketing. But we're going to talk about marketing yourself to sellers, your properties to buyers, and your properties to buyers if you're doing a flip or if you're doing a wholesale, or your properties to tenants if you're doing a BRRRR or a buy and hold, where you're getting that monthly rental income. So those are the 3 distinctions that we're going to talk about today. Today's objectives, I'm going to walk you through what I consider the most fundamental strategies to attract deals, to go out and proactively get deals, rather than sitting behind the screen of your computer or your smartphone and waiting for someone to email you a deal, or looking on Zillow or Realtor or Craigslist or wherever to find a deal that way that's exposed to everybody and their brother at the same time, which is a whole different category. But this is one of the real fundamentals. And again, you guys who have been on the call know that I beat the drum on this every week. and I'm going to do it again this week, because you have to do it like brushing your teeth every day. Is you have to be proactive about going out and finding deals. And that means, initiating contacts. We call it in the networking world, you go out and you be the one to extend the first hand in the conversation and in the relationship. Okay, if that makes sense. So I'm going to walk you through 5 main strategies. I'm going to really encourage you to walk out or log off today and make a commitment to yourself to start implementing these strategies over, today, but over the next 7 days, and build up some habits, no matter what you call it. Prospecting, because I'm going to talk about prospecting, I'm going to talk about networking, I'm going to talk about advertising, maybe a little bit of social media, but all of those are proactive steps that are designed to bring deals to you. And again, I'm operating on the assumption, this is a big assumption on my part, I'm operating on the assumption that you have a clear goal of what you want to accomplish over your real estate investing career. You have a big overarching goal, A, and B, you have a pretty solid meat and potatoes business plan to achieve that. And then now we're at level 3, which is finding that next deal that is going to be a stepping stone towards your big goals. All right. That's my thinking when I put all this stuff together. So I'm going to talk about 5 strategies. So again, take some notes. I'll give you a cheat sheet with the 5 strategies, but 5 are not a whole lot to write down. And remember, I try and make it simple because you can remember 5 because you've got 5 fingers, so you can assign one of these strategies to each finger on your hand. So when you're baking this into your daily activity, you say, oh, okay, I'm going to implement strategy number 2 today. I'm going to put it in my schedule, and this is what I'm going to do. These are the tactics I'm going to use under strategy number 3. Just kind of that level of thinking, which is all kind of big and drop down to today. So I'm going to grab a sip of coffee. And, again, I want to get you, what I intend to accomplish with these classes on Saturday mornings is yes, I download a bunch of information, which I hope is which I'm pretty sure is valuable, especially if you've never heard it before. But I like to use these sessions to get you to think in perhaps a different way than you've been thinking before. And that's a big shift. That's a big responsibility and a big thing I'm asking, but I share it because I've learned it over time, and it's taken a long time, and I still learn every day. But it works, which is the most important element of it. But it's changing your mindset and having the right mindset. And this is perhaps the most important point of the day, is when you're looking for deals, people, yes, it's a transaction of a piece of real estate, but the more important element when you're a real estate investor, especially if you want to buy more than one property over your career, is people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Okay. And sometimes, quite a few times, I have learned this, that people want to do business if they know, like, and trust you. You might not be offering the highest price, or someone else might be offering something better, but you will find that if you do what Denzel says on this slide here, you will find that you will get more and better deals. And not only will you get more and better deals, everyone that you interact with and everyone that you do a deal with will want to tell others what a pleasure it was to do business with you. And that will in turn attract more business to you, if that makes sense. And I know if you sit down and you start to think about people who you've done business with, whether it's people you bought real estate from, people you bought a car from, doctors, dentists, insurance agents, financial planners, whatever, lots of people offer the same thing, but you want to do business with people that you know, like, and trust. Therefore, if you want people to do business with you, you want to become a person who is worthy of being liked, of being known, and being trusted. So this is the star note number 1, that as you log off today and as you go out around in your world and in your circles. Okay, remember this slide. Your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card. How you feel, how you leave others feeling after an interaction is your trademark, because you want to attract a business. And attracting business is much more than just sending a letter or sending a postcard or making a cold call. You know, hey, Mr. Smith, would you like to sell your house today? Okay, that's a part of it, yes, but this is the bigger picture. And this is what you need to do, because you are going to cultivate deals like you are tending to a garden, or in the spring, you know, we're in the spring planting season. And everybody you interact with, whether it is, you know, your spouse, your significant other, your immediate family, your coworkers, if you have another job, people you go to church with, people who are, you know, your kids' friends, the waitress at your favorite Coney Island, your dry cleaner, your car mechanic. Okay, you're going to want to start to think that those people are potential sources of deals. I've been in this business 19 years, and the one thing I can say is I have not gotten deals from places where I thought I should be getting deals, and deals have come to me from sources where I least expect it. And you never know how you interact with someone, how that's going to go, or how that makes that person feel. You know, quite often just a word of encouragement, or just listening to them, or just an acknowledgement of them, it can change their whole day and make something memorable. And I'll give the example is I've got a potential deal cooking from a guy who called me up. He said, hey, Brian, you probably don't remember me, but I came to one of your classes 6 years ago, and you know, I learned a lot and blah blah blah, and I have this opportunity. Are you interested? I said, yeah. And I never know. And I mean, I quite frankly, I didn't remember him. I thought the name rang a bell, but you never know. So this is the most important thing of the day. And I could go on the whole hour about this, but I'm gonna cut off about this, but it's that important. So here are the 5 strategies. Cultivate your SOI. We call, in the real estate world, we call it your SOI, your sphere of influence. Okay. And that your sphere of influence is, the simple definition of it is, you know, people who you know and people who know you. So, you know, if you were to call them or text them, they would know who you were, and they would take the call or respond to the text. And the other, you know, the other example we give about your sphere of influence is, we call it the wedding or the do the wedding or the funeral test. You know, who would you invite to, if you were getting married, you know, this week or whatever, who would you invite to your wedding? That's your sphere of influence. And you are going to take action steps because you're a real estate investor. You're excited about being a real estate investor. You're either just starting as an investor or you're growing as an investor. That's something to be excited about. And therefore, you can reach out to them and say, hey, Sandy, how you doing? I was been thinking about you. And then you engage with a conversation with someone who is within your sphere of influence. Just have a conversation. You can have a phone conversation. You can say, would you like to meet for coffee? Whatever it might be, and get a conversation going. And it all starts with a conversation. And you're going to want to talk to them and ask them what they're doing, find out, you know, get caught up with them if you haven't talked with them for a while, and find out what they're doing and how they're doing and what they want to do and how maybe you can help them. And you do that first. You initiate the conversation, you invite them to coffee, and you make it easy. And then you ask them, and you ask them questions, and you really listen to them. And then obviously what happens is they reciprocate. They say, okay, Brian, oh yeah, Brian, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. This is great. What are you up to? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm becoming a real estate investor. I'm just starting out, or I'm expanding, or I'm starting up again after I left it on the shelf for a while, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. You're starting a conversation. You're starting from today. I'm looking for a property. I've been interested in buying a duplex in Ann Arbor or Washtenaw County. Do you happen to know anyone? Okay. And then so that's networking with the people who know you. And then, you know, you never know where it will lead, but you engage the law of attraction in every conversation and say, do you know anyone? And that Sandy might, or whomever it is, might say, well, yeah, my hairdresser lives in a duplex and doesn't like the landlord, and the landlord's never around. And I think they might be wanting to sell it. They don't take care of the place. Whatever. Okay, that's a lead. Now, yeah, can I talk to your hairdresser? What's the address of the duplex? All right, so now you've got a lead. Now you find the address of the duplex. You can look it up. You can find tons of information online. You can go to the tax records, find the owner. You can write a letter to the owner of the duplex. Hey, are you interested in selling your duplex? That's strategy number one. Okay. I mean, it's time consuming. There's no question about it, but you are building stuff over time. And as you do this, you'll find ways to create efficiencies. But that cultivating your sphere of influence is really the shallow end of the pool, because you're talking to somebody who already knows, likes, and trusts you. And they're not going to make this one referral about the duplex, the hairdresser's duplex. But now, guess what? Sandy is now a bird dog for you, or a salesperson for you. They're going to be selling you to their sphere of influence. Hey, my friend Brian is a real estate investor. I'm trying to help him out. If you know of anybody, here's his number, or if you know of anybody, contact me and I'll reach out to him. And things, you can see how, a butterfly effect, kind of an approach to it, how things can materialize. Again, if you think of doing this with the long-term view that you're creating a business with a long-term career, you need to keep filling your funnel with leads. And this is strategy number one to do it. And then the other hard part is, keeping track of the contacts. Okay. And you talked to, I had coffee with Sandy today. I'm gonna put on my calendar to, not let 6 years go by until I reach out to Sandy again. I'm gonna put down in my little tickler calendar to touch base with Sandy in 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it is, just to say hi. And you get the idea, and keep the conversation going. So that's number one, your sphere of influence, the people you would invite to your wedding. Let's leave it at that for today. Grow your network. All right. You're growing your network today. I know a bunch of people jumped on the call. I'm not sure how many are exactly on the call, but everybody's going to put their contact information in the chat. Everybody else is going to save the chat. And now you've got another 10 contacts in your network. All right. Your network is your network. And again, these are people who these are people you're interacting with much more of a specific purpose. And it's much more transactional than the interactions with your sphere of influence, with your friends and family and people who you know because they're at your wedding. If you know what I mean. Growing your network, it's your professional connections, it's your professional sphere of influence. And this involves and includes, again, everyone you interact with, throughout the day. People you work with, people, if you belong to a soccer team, amateur soccer team, if you belong to a organization where you restore antique cars, people, that's your network. Okay. And again, it's about engaging in conversations about real estate, because everybody likes to talk about real estate. And if let's say you belong to an antique car club or whatever, and you go to the car shows, you meet people and you talk about the cars and blah, 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 blah. Which is all great. It's part of your life. It's your hobby. You're not there for the specific purpose of real estate, but you have that in your mind, all the time. You don't be this is what we learn as real estate agents. You don't be a stealth investor. You don't be a stealth real estate agent. You let people know you're in that business and you would like to have conversations. You're not there to sell anybody anything. You're there to be a resource for information, a resource to be, again, back to Denzel, someone, who is in the industry, who knows what's going on in the industry. And again, everybody else wants to know something about real estate investing. Everybody, oh, you're interested? I've been thinking about getting involved in real estate investing. And you initiate a conversation and you grow your network that way. And then the more people who know what you do, the more people will know you, the more you interact with them, and the more you're nice to them, and the more maybe you do something for them, they will like you. The more they trust you, then the more business will start coming your way. And again, this is something that does not happen overnight. This is something that is designed to be baked into what you do on a daily basis. And this is designed to be what you do through the term of your real estate investing career. And again, I stress the importance. You're creating a business that is going to create for you financial independence. You might be wanting to create a business that creates a legacy for your children, your grandchildren, your grandchildren's children. Okay, that's a huge deal. You need to think of it in the long term, that engaging in all of these conversations and relationships are like planting seeds in a garden. And they're going to grow at different times, but you've got to keep watering the garden. And that's what this is all about. All right. So you've got your sphere of influence, which is your shallow end of the pool. You've got your network. Okay. So that's people that are, that know you're in the real estate business, and then know that you're actively engaging in the business, that you're looking for your next deal, like right now. Okay. And you make that known to them, again, through engaging with them, a number of different ways: calling, texting, Facebook messages, tweets, TikToks, whatever you do to do that. Number 3 is prospecting to motivated sellers. All right. So that is now getting lists of names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, of people who are more likely to sell a particular type of property that you're interested in buying, rather than someone else, or rather than a property that you have no interest in as a real estate investor. So this is narrowing your target. And this is This is marketing 101. It's target marketing. So, I publish a list, and I'll post it out today, categories of motivated sellers. I'll publish the foreclosures, because that's the number one list, is bank-owned properties, because banks don't want to own properties. So banks are motivated sellers. So I've got a list of 200 foreclosures. I'm going to give you that list today. That's the list I'll give you. But also we talk about, there are lots of resources and companies that do data mining and produce lists of what are theoretically motivated sellers. And it's the natural list. It's bank-owned properties, it's probates, it's people going through a divorce, people who are in default on their mortgage, so they're in pre-foreclosure. There are properties that have building code violations that perhaps the owner is in over their head, or they're just sick of owning the property, whatever it might be. It's the process of collecting those lists of names, addresses, phone numbers, emails, and then going after them. Okay, that's all a very monumental project, but again, if you have a fire in the belly, if you have a big plan, you've got to feed the funnel. And this is marketing 101. This is any sales organization has a similar framework. You have the funnel, you have the top of the funnel, which are unqualified leads, and then you start filtering them down, being more qualified and more motivated. And it's all real estate investing. Finding deals is all about finding motivated sellers. When all the dust settles, and when the deals start trickling down the bottom of that funnel is the motivated seller that you're going to grab at the bottom of the funnel and do what you're going to do with it. All right. FOIA requests is a more advanced situation. I talk about that more in the Rainmakers group. The FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act, where you go to the building department of the city, township, wherever that you're targeting, and you want to try and get out of them lists of properties that may have been condemned, list of properties that have building code violations, things like that, because those in theory are motivated sellers. If someone is facing eviction, or facing a lot of fines, and inability to get permits, and inability to get a certificate of occupancy to get a tenant in there, that's a homeowner that is bleeding money every month that they're not getting income on. So they are in theory a motivated seller, and you're going to want to go after them. And then the fifth one, again, is another long-term strategy, but you are in this for the long term. So let's say your written business plan based on your goals is, I want to buy over the course of my career, I would like to own 20 duplexes in Ann Arbor. Okay, that's fine. Let's go for it. So here's what I suggest doing. And it takes a long time to do this, but you create a catalog of every duplex in Ann Arbor, name, address, and then find the owner, and then start soliciting the owner. Owner might say, well, no, I have no interest in selling, thank you very much. Say, that's okay. Here's my card. If you ever have a change of mind, or your circumstances change, or I can help you with something else, please make my number the first number you call. And that's it. You planted a seed, and then you're going to follow up with him or her. Gee, Mr. Smith, I really like your property. I've already bought 4 duplexes in the area. Can we talk? And again, it all is conversations. staying in touch, becoming a person that that owner will know, like, and trust, which means, what does that mean? Well, maybe you can help him with something else where, Mr. Smith, who owns this duplex that you've been sending him letters for now for a year, he might say, well, yeah, I've been getting your letters. My plumber just retired, who I've been working with for the last 10 years. I know own other duplexes in the area. Who's your plumber? Is he any good? Would you mind giving me his name? Okay. You've created a relationship. You've created a relationship where now he knows, likes, and trusts you, and you're going to refer him a plumber, which helps him out. Okay. So again, he might not sell. He might never sell. He might sell 10 years from now. His circumstances might change. He might have a health problem in a year. He might need to change. He might get an opportunity to buy something else, and he says, well, maybe I'll use the cash for this. Whatever, anything can happen. You've got to have your antenna out for those. He might refer you to someone else. He can say, hey, Brian, I know you've been sending me letters. I know you're interested in my duplex. I'm not ready to sell, but my friend over here is retiring. He wants to, his wife is making him move to Florida, whatever it is. He doesn't want to be landlord anymore. Would you be interested in that one? And that's a result of your geographic farming efforts. I do that. I've been doing it for 19 years. I'm not as consistent as I would like to, as I should be, but when I do it, it pays off, and it has paid off. It's a deal I'm doing. A contract I did this week is for someone I've been farming for 15 years, and I'm not I'm not selling the house he lives in, which is the one I've been farming about. But he says, Brian, I know you from the neighborhood. I know you from the letters you've been sending me. I have this investment property that I'm looking to sell. Will you help me? Bingo. There you go. Again, I'm not saying it takes 15 years for all of these flowers to bloom, but as a investor who's trying to get upstream, who's trying to be proactive, and again, not sit behind your screen or sit on your smartphone waiting for somebody to send you something, you've got to go out and get it. And that's what we do in the Investors Club. And that's what we really kind of put it into hyperdrive with the Rainmakers group that we meet every other Thursday, that all you guys are invited to. We really push the accelerator on doing these marketing things in that group. But you've got to develop a systematic approach. You've got to be disciplined, because all of these efforts take time and money. Okay, some more money than the others, especially if you're getting into things like mailing or buying lists, or maybe hiring a VA to do cold calls or whatnot. You're becoming a marketing machine. You're becoming a deal finding machine individually. Again, being proactive rather than reactive. Write that down. Be proactive, not reactive. That's one of my main mantras. This is it. This is just the same thing I've been reiterating through the previous slides. It all starts with a conversation. It all starts with you extending the first hand, and it all starts with you, smiling, extending the first hand, offering to help. That means listening to the other person, and how can you help them with something real estate related, something not real estate related, something you can help them with, so that again, you become a person that the person you interact with knows, likes, and trusts. And when they know you, like you, trust you, they want to do business with you, and they want to help you. Therefore, they know, like, and trust you, so they will put their reputation on the line because they know, like, and trust you, and say, hey, here, you have this or this, you should talk to my friend Doug. He's a real estate investor. He's a good guy. He's out of Livonia. He's looking to expand his portfolio. Here, have a conversation with him. Here's his card. Here's his contact. I'll send you his contact info on my smartphone. It all starts with a conversation. And again, you have to keep in touch. And this is a caveat that uh, happens to me all too often, and I'm certain that it happens to you as well. And I'll say it here because it just happened again the other day. Is, I have a friend who I knew, um, and we interacted a lot quite a while ago. We kind of drifted apart. We were part of the same networking group. She moved to Vancouver, and I'm here, and time goes by, and you don't know where the time goes, and all of a sudden, I get a text from another friend in the group, and he says, I got a text. He says, Brian, I'm sorry to share this news with you, but Valerie passed away last week. I'm like, holy, yeah. And he says, oh, and he said, well, we've been staying in touch for these past 10 years. And I said, 10 years? My God, has it been 10 years? And then you think of it, and yeah, time has passed by because, life happens, things get in the way, you lose touch with people, and, you feel bad that you lose touch. And it's another realization of how short life is and how really important it is to stay in touch, to engage with people, to be genuinely interested in what they're doing. And when you're genuinely interested in helping them, they will be genuinely interested in helping you. Okay. And again, I'll reiterate it again, you'd be surprised where the deals come from, because they'll come out of the blue where you least expect it. But then you say, well, this is not really out of the blue, because this is based on me, uh, seeds I planted a long time ago. So that's what it's about. Here's again my mantra that I've been saying for the past few slides, but it bears repeating again. And here's another little editorial, is that you all know as well as I know, we live in a world today filled with stress. Everybody's overwhelmed. Everybody has lots of stressors. I mean, shit, we just went through, came out of a pandemic, let alone all the other stuff that's going on. So everybody is very tightly wound. Everybody is under a lot of stress. Everybody has problems that, we know nothing about. Everybody that you interact with has got problems that you know nothing about. But when it's all said and done, people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you can do something that makes someone's day a little bit brighter, something that relieves a little bit of stress off their plate, helps them become a little bit more relaxed, help them accomplish what they want to accomplish, they in turn will want to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's really natural. And it's really simple. It's not always easy, but it's not done. And I think, Brian, you jerk, why did you not stay in touch with Valerie? And, um, and yeah, I mean, that's life. That's the way it goes. But I'm going to circle back to, you and I trying to do more real estate deals, which is, kind of the other motivation. But the primary motivation is, golden rule: treat people right, people will treat you right. There's plenty of real estate deals out there. It's just a matter of getting them. Okay. We talk about, how there's low inventory and all that. And that's true. There's low inventory if you're sitting on your ass in your chair waiting for inventory to come online. Or, you can do that and bitch about it, or you can go out and make something happen. Find some inventory, find an opportunity. And it happens in this real estate investing world that you can talk to people, and you can potentially create deals where there are no deals. Because if you're an investor and you want to buy a property that's owned by another investor, guess what? That investor has got his or her own goals, that are separate and above the particular property you might be talking about. So if you can help that person reach his or her goals, they will help you reach your goals in one way or another. So that's my pontification about that. So here's an action plan for those of you who log on, and I know there's a couple people who are brand new, and a couple people, I don't know how you log on 45 minutes late, but that's all right. When you join one of my meetings, whether it be on Zoom or in person, I've got a couple prerequisites for you to get value out of it. Okay. You're not going to get value out of it if you're just coming to check us out, then it's a waste of everybody's time. But if you come to one of my classes or one of my meetings, come in with a goal, come into the meeting with a goal, and walk out of the meeting or log off of the meeting with an action plan, then the meeting has had value and has delivered value. If you don't do that, there's no value. But you've got to come in with an action plan, come in with a goal and leave with an action plan. All right. So here's your action plan. Develop a follow-up plan. So the follow-up plan really consists of you being clear on what you want, and you can be clear if you have a written action plan. And I gave out the action plan a few weeks ago in the planning session. You need a written action plan. And we do an exercise. I do an exercise that's based off the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. There's a book called The One Thing, O-N-E, The One Thing by Gary Keller. And when you have a plan, it's your big goal, and you reverse engineer your plan. So The One Thing talks about goal setting to the now. All right. And I have a worksheet on that. I gave that out in the planning session. I'm not giving that one out today. But part of your plan is finding deals. And so finding deals is part of your plan. So what are the elements of finding deals? The elements of finding deals are those 5 strategies, which really boil down to networking, prospecting, and then, advertising, putting your thing on, the sticker on your car or whatever. That's part of marketing. Develop a follow-up plan. Start reaching out to your sphere of influence and initiating those conversations, getting clear on what you want with a written plan. Number 2 is writing your list. You start writing a list of people. You start writing a list of everybody everybody you've ever met in your lifetime. You write their name down on a piece of paper, and you're going to start a follow-up plan with those people. Number 3 is the prospects, the motivated seller lists, and what you're going to do about those. Are you going to write letters? Are you going to write postcards? Are you going to call people? Are you going to email them? Are you going to hire a VA to do all that? All of that stuff. All right. Develop a plan for your plan. If you need help doing that, I'm available to help you do that. Start with your sphere of influence, your wedding invitations. Okay. Start with that. Examine your communities. Okay. So again, this is thinking of what you're already doing in your life with a different approach. I talked about the antique car clubs. Your kids, the parents of your kids' soccer team, people you go to church with, people, whatever, people in your yoga class, whatever it might be. Examine your communities, Think about opportunities to interact with people and engage in a conversation about real estate. Okay. Strategic networking. All right. I encourage you to join a networking group or more than one, because networking groups are groups of people who you would likely not otherwise cross paths with. But when you network, okay, if I'm going to a network, well, I was at network meeting earlier with Rodolfo. If I go to a networking meeting and I meet Rodolfo at a networking meeting, hey Rodolfo, I'm Brian. Hey Brian, I'm Rodolfo. Okay, I've got a sphere of influence. Let's say my wedding list is 200 people. Okay, Rodolfo has a wedding list of 200 people. Okay, guess what? When you network, if I have 200 people, Rodolfo has 200 people, I connect with Rodolfo, guess what? Each one of us now has a network of 400 people. So you've just exponentially expanded your network. That's strategic networking. Okay. And strategic networking in real estate investing means that you want to meet people who are already interacting with those target markets, those motivated sellers that you want to interact with. So, for example, you say, I would like to target probate properties, properties that family has inherited, but they don't want to own the property anymore. Okay. So who interacts with those people who, you know, have had a relative who've passed, who might own property? Well, ding, the light bulb goes off. Estate attorneys. Okay. So now you want to strategically network with an estate attorney. You're going after a target market where someone else also interacts with that market. All right. So you're going to use your sphere of influence and say, hey, we're going back to Sandy. Sandy, not only, am I looking for my next real estate deal, but I'm looking to buy properties from people who have inherited properties, but don't want to own them anymore. And I'm looking to connect with estate attorneys. Do you happen to know an estate attorney? Oh, Sandy might say, oh, my uncle is an estate attorney. All right. That's strategic networking. And I could go on, all day about that stuff. Social media, obviously, you get yourself out there. People aren't necessarily going to call you. Oh, I saw your tweet. Will you come and buy my house? That doesn't happen. But social media means, you're out there, and it's more like branding, where, you continue to be, the theory is you continue to be top of mind. If you're posting stuff on social media where other people see it, they're not in the market today, but they see it, and that's the whole idea of branding, being top of mind, which is, again, that can be the subject of another class. Engage your reticular activator. That's the idea of having your antenna out to create, find, pick up on opportunities to have a conversation about real estate. Pick a target market. All right. Probates, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, bankruptcies, divorces. Pick a target market and pick a geographic farm. This is especially true if you're a real estate investor and, oh, I'm a real estate investor. There's a guy that was there at our Rainmakers on Thursday. He just bought a property in Lincoln Park, just converted it, and now he's got a duplex. He's got some income going, and he's got his first property in Lincoln Park. Well, guess what? Guess what I would do? Guess what I would advise him to do is, put a pin in his property in Lincoln Park and draw a radius around there and start, sending out letters to other land owners of investment property in that area. Hey, I just bought this property at 123 Main Street. I just spent a lot of money fixing it up. I want to improve the quality of the neighborhood. I'm looking to buy more properties in the area. If you know of anybody, here's how to contact me. That's marketing to a geographic farm. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 action items that you can take this morning. And again, these are, any one of these will take up a lot of time, effort, and expense, and you have to work it over time and utilize the ones that get the best results based on your individual plan. All right, this is not a one size fits all for every real estate investor. It's based on your plan, and once you have your plan, you're getting more strategic and more specific about it, and you're reverse engineering your plan to the now, which will lead you to your big goal down the road. Upcoming events, I usually put the calendar of upcoming events on here. I'm doing a blitz in May. I'm going to call it a blitz. I've got 4. There are going to be 6 meetups in May. I got another one next week, so that's seven meetups in the next, 7 weeks, basically, if not more. I'm going to be kind of dramatically shifting things in June, July, and August for a number of reasons, but more to come on that as it develops. Additional resources. I'm pulling the train into the station here, and I'll have time to answer questions if there are questions in the chat. I haven't seen them yet, but I'll answer them if I haven't answered them already. Those of you, especially if you are new today, I encourage you to buy the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. While you're on Amazon, I would advise you to buy the book, The One Thing, also by Gary Keller. He's got a couple other books in his series called Flip, one called Hold. Those are great books. Bigger Pockets is the granddaddy of real estate investing websites. If you're not familiar with it, you could spend 40 hours a week on Bigger Pockets and never scratch the surface. It's got so much stuff on there. Investopedia is a good starting resource as well. I encourage you to check those out to do your deeper dives. I offer a membership. Being part of the group, again, it involves classes, teaching the fundamentals. It involves networking, which is kind of the bulk of what today's session is about, and deal making. There are a lot of deals that get done among members of this group that never see the light of day and that other members don't ever learn about, and nobody does, because everybody imagines that every deal that gets done is somehow on the internet. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. There's a lot of deals that get done, especially in the real estate investing world, that are done, and nobody knows except the parties involved that those deals get done. So this is what I offer when you engage with the group. By the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. Join the Ann Arbor Real Estate Investors Club. I have a one-time membership fee of $200, and that $200 is going away on May 1st. I did the $200 as a 3-month promotion back in September, but I've extended it another 4 months, and it's going back. I'm going back to $250 and $325. So as of May 1st, it's going to be $250, or if you're in a partnership, it's $325 for you and a partner. That's as of May 1st. So until then, it's a one-time $200 membership fee, which you can pay me via Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Bitcoin. I'll take Bitcoin. Reach out to me for a one-on-one. So that's that. The VIP membership, you know, I have an expectation that you will be a paid member to attend the Rainmakers group in person. You know, here you can come and jump onto a couple classes. You know, if you like it, if you find value, if you think my time has value, then you'll figure out that the $200 is a bargain. I'd appreciate you taking care of that. I'm not going to chase people down. I work on the honor system because I just don't have time to do it the other way. Handouts, let me